Hi guys, day 3 of building a Delorean time machine in 20 days. I've got the time circuits here and I've got plutonium dials down here. These are going to be going on the dash today with a few other items. So stick with me and see how we do it. Oh, always tight in here. There we are, that's a little bit better. Hi everyone. So I've got the time circuits with me here and we're going to be putting these on the dash. Now these are one of the easiest things to install. There's 3 little screw holes on this side and 2 on this side. You can't actually get to this side unless you undo the center console, which we're not going to do, but 3 fixings on this side is plenty, as when I do fit it, it just slides into position. Hi everyone, so I've just literally sat that in position and I've run the wire down the edge. This will eventually hook up inside this unit with all the other items so everything works together, but that's a nice little simple one, and when it's lit up it looks great. Hi, we also have these Rowan controls. They're fantastic replicas of the real ones. You can buy these online if you can find them, but these are ones that are made by another company. I'll put their link below as well, but they're a fantastic copy of the originals and they look great on the dash. Now these ones are supposed to be screwed in, but to get the screws actually on the dash where they need to be, you have to take the windscreen out. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do in these 4 little holes is actually put some screws in, and I'm going to grind them off the back, and then I'm going to put a soft pad on this and then attach it to the dashboard so it looks like it's screwed down, but it isn't. This is what we do in the film industry to make obviously something look like it's fixed when it's not, so it's easily removable if you need to fix it or if you need to change it at all. I'll also show you this one quick. This is the Claire Electro Seal Box. This is an absolute fantastic replica. I will put the guy who made this in the details below. This is absolutely fantastic. From the original photos on the A car, this has got every wire, everything is correct, everything is period correct as well, even down to the terminals and the old fuses. Everything is the exact same as what you got in the film car. So this is a wonderful prop to put in the center of the car, and it could not be more accurate. Okay, so what I've got here is the Rowan connectors, and what we're going to quickly do is just put 4 little screws in each corner, and I'm going to grind them off on the back so this sits flat, and it means we can put it in the car on a little pad and it will look fine. So let's get our 4 little screws, a battery and a drill. That's 1. 2. 3. And 4. So now we've got those, we can try and wear goggles when you do this, but if you don't have them, never mind. I'm just going to put this little bit of rubber down to stop any scratching happening on that end. And we're just going to take this . One. Yeah, great. And there we have it, not scratched on there. We've got our 4 screws, but on the back, they're nice and flush, which means when it's bolted onto something, it will look like it's screwed down when it's not. Back. So what we're going to be doing is putting a little bit of movie toffee tack on the bottom of this, and on the bottom of these 2 units, which are the black dash boxes, we're going to be putting a little bit of foam because of the amount of fixings we have on the bottom of this. Now I can't grind all of these off. If I was to do that, then the majority of the electronics inside, if you can see, there's a lot in there, they would all become loose. Now once again, these are great detail, and these are to match the film car. So we're going to be putting foam on the bottom of those. First off, because this just sits, I'm going to be using this stuff. Now this is what we call toffee tack, and this is what we use in the film industry for putting things on walls or anything like that, because you can simply stick it onto, for example, this battery, which is quite heavy, and it will stick for a certain amount of time. Now the idea is that this is removable, it isn't permanent, but it is strong enough that it will hold that on, and also it looks like snot. It's a little bit like what you get on a back of a credit card when you get your credit card sent and it's sort of stuck on a little bit of that. Anyway, so we're going to put 2 strips on here. You can just pull this stuff off, but it's nicer to cut it so you don't end up with a built-up bit. There we are. So we've got those 2 bits, and that means I can simply put that in the car. I can guarantee you that's not going to budge. You could put something stronger if you want it to last for longer, but I mean this, once this is in position and we've got all the cables hooked up to this, it's not going to move. So that's the first one. Then we are going to use a little bit of this foam, soft padding foam. It's really, really good, and we're going to put that on mostly so all of this is something to sit into, but also it's going to stop it from scratching the dash up, and it gives us a little gap to feed the wires underneath, which on the film car, when these are sat on the dash, you've got a few little wires tucked in the back, but they're not going into the back of the unit, they're going under it. So it gives that little gap as well. So line this up. About there-ish. It's cold in my workshop, so these aren't going to stick too well yet. With a little bit of heat and also pressure, they'll sit on. And all it does, gives it that little bit of cushioning, and it's a bit smoother for it to go onto the dash of the car. You're not really going to tell that it's sat on a bit of foam once it's pushed and put in properly. So that's the first one. This is the second. And there we have it. Now, what I've done before is actually clamp these together to let them stick and dry, which I might do just for security. Hi everyone, they've had a little bit more time to set, so what I'm going to be doing is adding a little bit of this, which is double-sided carpet tape. Now the good thing about this over the tack is that this is super thin. The tack is about 1 millimeter thick, so it does give a little bit of a raise if you've got something flat and you're seeing a sideways view. Because these are on the dash, they're going to be right in the driver's view. So instead of using tack, I'm going to be using this double-sided carpet tape. It works brilliantly and it sticks to both the foam and the dash. So I'll be putting that on the reverse quickly, just a little strip on each side. And then we'll be getting these in the dash in a minute. Hey everyone, so I've just set the 2 dash boxes where they should go. I've matched that to photos I have of the A car, which is in the Peterson Museum. Now what I'm doing is just putting a tiny bit of tack just underneath the speedo, and this will hold the speedo in position. Some people like to use Velcro, some people use glue, but I like to use this film tack because I'm used to it. I know how it works. It's malleable. When it does set, it gives you a good bond without having anything too tight. Now I've lent this one slightly off to one side so that I've got a little... Hi everyone, sorry I had a phone call, it cut the video off, but the reason I've lent this slightly to one side is that it gives a little bit of movement if I need it. Also, it means it's easy to try and pull that off, but you can see how well it's stuck to that dash already. But it means if you knock it, it's not going to break anything. It's got a bit of movement to it, which is kind of what you want, because if it's stuck and someone bashes it, it's more than likely going to crack the unit, tear the housing or something. At least this gives you a little bit of play and a little bit of momentum, which is kind of what you want on some of these items. Now I'm going to sit this row and control in position. So I'm just going to take the tape off of this. I've got some very, very small pencil marks, so you can't quite see on camera where they are, but I know where they are, which is handy. So we're just going to peel this off, and you'll see once this is stuck on, this little sucker is not going to move. So I've got it right there on my pencil mark. And there you have it. Once that's had a little while to set, that thing's going to be solid as a rock. It's got a bit of wobble there, but I can actually see it's part of the dash. So there you have it. That's that in position as well. Right, so now I've got this fantastic replica radio, which is brilliant. It's the exact same as what the radio was in the car. These are custom made. Unfortunately, the top shouldn't look like that. It should be a little bit beaten up and black. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this old spray, and we're just going to very lightly cover that up. I'm just going to take a bit of paper. I'm just going to kind of scuff it a little bit while the paint's still wet, and just end up giving a little bit of wear and tear mark on it, just like the film one. So there you go. I'll let that dry and we'll get that in the car. Right, now I've got the radio that's been dried. What I'm going to do is take these two little strips of tack, once again, off the back. I'm going to line it up. It sits just there. Also have the little air glide compass, which you can buy on eBay. You can still get the vintage ones. This one literally sits there. Also have this little heatsink, which I need to put some small terminals on and little relays, but that eventually sits on the top there with a little microchip coming out the back and some wires and a little capacitor coming off of it. Now I'm happy with the position of all of this from the driver's perspective. It matches the photos and I can now fix it in place. I've got a small tack on the other side holding it in position, so I'm just going to put 3 small screws on this side, and this should then hold it from moving. There we are. So usually one of the first modifications I do when I do a DeLorean time machine is the number plate, because it's one of the most recognizable props and it's an easy mod. This one I've got the 2 light sections loose because I'm replacing the bulbs, but if I pop this out, we can get the new one in. Luckily enough, it's a very easy panel to remove. There's 4 small screws. And the whole unit's out. Now I've had this bumper professionally resprayed, and luckily enough they did all behind and re-prepped it, so it looks as good as the original. Right, so here we have the back panel. It's very easy, it's 2 screws. You just loosen it enough to slide these out. Then we're going to put our California out of time plate in. And what we're going to do is make sure we're happy with how it lines up. Golden State, California, there and there, yeah. So I'll tighten that back up. This is a little bit thinner than the UK one, so it feels like it wants to move. So what I'm going to do is just put a small packer behind it. Or actually, probably a little bit of tape. Let's make sure we're happy with its location. There you are. Right. I've fixed that plate on, so we're now ready to put that back in. Just wire this light back through. It goes on that way. And that one goes in there. And there we have the out of time number plate fitted. Hi guys, this is the roof panel. This is what we're going to be putting in the car in a minute. We've got these few little plates here that we just need to bend around the top of the frame, and then that's going to support this on the roof. This is a pre-made unit that you can get from Time Cobblers. It's about £1,300, and it matches the film car with all the correct font, and everything's pre-wired in the back and good to go. Next thing we've got to do is pop this off. It's the top of the seal. And we're actually going to be bending these little panels that come with it to look something like that. So you can slide over, and then that will connect onto the roof panel. Let me put it into position. This little unit comes with 2 little screws in each corner as well, so you can mount the brackets on.